very young team, and they got a lot of experience. How important is that going forward?
Yeah, that's very important. They got a taste of it. 14 new faces in there, 9 of them freshmen. Getting a taste in high competition through the NCHC and then in the playoffs too. So obviously, it wasn't the. We wanted to keep playing. We wanted to obviously hang another banner, but at the end of the day, end of the year, we did get a lot of experience here, and we have a really good returning group coming back here, and again, we're excited about the preparation, the process that's going to take place in order for us to get to where we need to go. Absolutely.
Alec told us DeRidder signed.
Yes.
Well, what do you like about him?
His competitiveness, just kind of watching his game. He's a lot of what we are here. He's very athletic. He's skilled. He's a worker. He's competitive, and he's an outstanding person. And again, that's what fits into our culture here. And going through the transfer portal, we're very discerning. You got to check the box of being a very good player, but you got to be an outstanding person, and you got to be a worker, and that's what he is. And we've had some good luck. You saw it over the past year with the 5 guys we brought in here, and we're not going to bring that many in. But at the end of the year, at the end of the day, in that position where you absolutely have to be strong, we're finding out you have to be experienced too. And again, I think obviously Jacob Helson's a very good goaltender for us. He's growing in his game, and he's going to push for playing time as well. But at the end of the day, having an experienced goaltender that's already played a college schedule for 4 years is something that you really need to have a strong team.
What do you see Jacob's role being next year?
Well, I think Jacob is a guy right now, coming over from Europe, not playing any junior hockey over here, just, getting his feet on the ground and knowing what the North American game is, especially at the college level, and knowing how important and impactful games are when you're playing 2 games on the weekend. And I thought he did a good job on the small body work that he came in. But again, I think it's a situation here where defensemen and goaltenders, their growth and development is sometimes a little bit different than a forward. And I think it's a situation where he's done a really good job over a course of a year to work to where he needs to be. And I think it'll continue to grow here. And again, Jacob is a team first guy, and he knows that. And at the end of the day, that he's going to work to provide opportunity for himself too here.
You've got a couple of seniors on your team that have a chance to come back. Where are you as far as your discussion of whether they are or not going to come?
Yeah, that's a great question, Virgin. Obviously the 2 guys I've mentioned are Hayne and Senden, and again, they were leaders on our team here, and I think they're going through a process right now, and giving them a little bit of time and space to kind of sort things out. And it was known to them by me that I'd love to have them back. You have an extra year of eligibility, and we'd love to have you back. So I think they're going through a process right now of where that's at. And this week here, we've kind of decompressed a little bit. We're not allowed to, work out our guys or do anything. It's kind of their free week here. So, I've given them the week here, and I think maybe next week we'll check back with them and see where everything's at.
Does Gavin's knee come around enough so if he did come back, he'd be
Yeah,
enough to play?
for sure. Yeah, and again, he had that long-term injury that wouldn't have permitted him to play in the second half here. But he's doing everything on his own right now. He's not skating yet, but like I said, it's still early in the preseason here, where absolutely he'll be ready to go in the preseason to train and different things like that, and he'll be fully healthy for the year ahead.
What's Sanderson's legacy?
Just a high-end elite player that came into our program that made an immediate impact in our program. And I think Brad, you threw out the James Patrick analogy as far as when you get players like that, you kind of refer back to some of the high-end defensemen that we've had in here. And when you're a 5th overall pick, you always kind of think that, well, it's probably 1 year, 2 years, hopefully. He went past the 1 year and stayed 2, and I feel so bad for him because, like I said, people haven't really seen the true Jake Sanderson in a full year of hockey, and that was out of his control. But at the end of the day, he was such a team-first guy. His legacy will be that elite talent, but North Dakota mentality all the way as far as being team first. And I'll tell you what, sometimes when you get those high-end players, and again, not too many have come through here that have been about themselves. He was never about himself. He stuck in right to the very end where, he knew he wasn't playing probably the rest of the year here due to the injury, and he didn't want to leave his teammates. He wanted to be here until the very end, and again, that's what his legacy is: high-end player, high-end character.
I probably would have bet my Lake Gavin that if Jake had been healthy down the stretch, you guys would be playing next week.
Yeah.
There's a chance of
and again, you know what, I tend to agree with you, Verge, absolutely. But, you know, like I felt we had enough in our group to keep moving forward, you know, over the body of the work, what we did, and just kind of prove to people that it didn't matter who was in your lineup. But again, when, you know, the pyramid of hockey gets tighter and tighter up top, you know, you need to make an extra play or two. And I think we were deficient of making an extra play against Notre Dame, and not discrediting our team, but how many plays did Jake Sanderson make at key times, even against Colorado College on the Friday night, to score that first goal to take the game over? So, yeah, I agree with you on that side of it, but I did feel we had enough in our group to keep moving.
Going into next year, Brent Johnson made big jumps in the second half. How do you see his game progressing over the summer into next year?
Well, I think it's going to be outstanding in the fact that you never know how that's going to go, but you control your attitude, your work ethic, and the choices you make every day. He's been outstanding on all three of them. You know, he's already back here on his own, working out, doing the things. He hasn't skipped a beat since the day we got beat out, and that tells you he's all in. For him to score that goal, that was a high-end goal against Notre Dame. That's a little glimpse of what Brent Johnson is. And, you know, I think as you play, you get more confidence. And as he got, you know, played more games, his confidence grew exponentially. And I think it's a situation where his body's going to grow, and he's going to get it stronger, and he's going to be, you're going to see a little bit more of what we saw in Brent Johnson here. So, again, like I said, without getting ahead of ourselves, I think he's got a great future ahead. And, again, he's controlling a lot of those things in a positive way right now.
It looked like we saw a different Carson Albrecht in the second half of the year, too.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and I think one of the things that North Dakota is, we're very true and honest. And, you know, Carson Albrecht was the second leading scorer in the Saskatchewan Junior League when we recruited him in here. And, you know, I think he'd be probably one of the first guys to know that, you know, you kind of look and go, wow, this is a high level. Like, this is a higher level than I came from. And that players have different acclimation process times on making an impact in our program. He stuck with it. Very easily after 2 years and not getting the opportunity, he could have said, well, I'm going to take my ball and go home or find another program. He loved it here. His teammates absolutely love him in the locker room, and he bought in to the point where he got opportunity to play this year, and he made the most of it. And I'll tell you what, when he was out of the lineup at the end of the year there for a game or two due to that lower body injury, I was looking for him like, when's Carson coming back? You know what I mean? And that's something that the first couple of years, you know, if a guy that's not tracking right or not making an impact in your program, then you kind of let that guy, you know, get better and he'll come back into your lineup. But when you miss a guy like that and he's made that impact, you need him in your lineup. And I'll tell you what, he's made a tremendous impact in our locker room, on and off the ice.
How long do you think it'll be till guys like Clevin or maybe Gaber might have opportunities, and those guys you hear back from?
Well, and again, like, you know, I've had all those discussions, not more than one time, you know, and again, I would rather them maybe come to you guys or make a statement to you that they're coming back. But what was intimated to me and what was verbally communicated to me, both those guys are coming back. So, again, like I said, I think those are situations where I'll let them, you know, come out when they want to. But, you know, like I said, we already had discussions about Gaber and Clevin, and they both verbally expressed to me they're coming back. So.
You should have a lot of your knee back then.
Yeah, we should have probably all 7 of the 8, you know, back for, you know, everyone except Sanderson. So, again, like I said, it's, you know, situations where you want to try to get ahead of it. You want to be respectful because, you know, players do have options. And, you know, I think at the end of the day, you know, I think when you have parents and the players and the coaches, and I know some days in this world, the advisors at some point too, you want to try to make an informed decision. It's an important decision, right? Like about the timing of wanting to leave and getting on to the next level. But it's such a big deal here of making sure you're patient with the process and making sure you're ready to go to jump to that next level to make that impact, because it is a tough one.
How difficult is it to fit the puzzle pieces together with forward? You guys have a lot of guys coming back, and you have your junior hockey players that are playing really well right now.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and again, I think that's a situation too where, you know, we'll go through that process, and I think there's going to be an understanding there of what happens. And you know what, believe you me, if there's a player playing junior hockey that's ready to come in, we'll bring him in. And again, I think, you know, we always look about the college side going to the NHL and making sure you're ready. Well, it's the same thing in junior. You know, in junior, if you're an impactful player and you're dominating, then you're ready to come into here and make an impactful spot on our team here. And you know, the last thing you want to do is come into a top program in the country and not have an opportunity to play at a high level. And again, like I said, I think it's a situation here where we'll go through that process, and believe me, if they are making an impact on the level they're at, we'll make room for them to come in.
One of those guys, Jackson Blake, how can he fit in next year? It seems like he's pretty good.
Well, I think the one thing that you know we were void a little bit of, and not a lot, but you know we could have used probably a little bit more playmaking and a little bit more finish in our game on the forward position, and not to discredit anybody, but I think when you build a team, you have to build a little bit of everything, and I think, you know, obviously Reese Gaber has that in his bag to do that, but you know we need maybe one or two other guys that can kind of help out on that side of it, and I think that's what Jackson Blake does. I mean, he's a very, very smart player, very competitive. He makes plays, but he also can finish. And I think, you know, playing a couple years of junior hockey that he has, that's a big deal.
You have Drew DeRidder coming in as a transfer portal. Are you looking at any other position to fill?
Not as of yet. Like, you know, like you guys talked about, we got a very strong team coming back. And, you know, we've got very good players playing junior hockey that can probably play at our level at some point in time here. If there is somebody that can help our group at a high level, then we'll look at it. But, you know, we're in a different situation this year than we were last year. Like 14 guys leaving our program last year, we were forced into trying to bring some depth in, and now we can be very, very more discerning on who that is and if we want to do that.
Looking ahead to next season a little bit, you know, you had this young group. What do you think were the most important lessons that they kind of took away from this season as they look to be even more competitive next year?
I think the adversity part of it, you know, like through the COVID, through, you know, going back through COVID the last couple of years, you know, guys in our program, but the young guys coming in and knowing that we did have a stoppage for a weekend and, you know, going through some quarantines and isolations and illnesses and different things like that, just the adversity side, and just keep plowing through, you know, and, you know, this was a year where our young guys got probably more opportunity than in a normal year, and they made the most of it. And at the end of the day, I think it's just, you know, they grew some whiskers this year. They grew, I think, into young guys, into young men here. And I think it's a situation where I just think, you know, we got a lot of adversity thrown at us, and guys know how to deal with it now. And guys have got a tight taste of the postseason and the national tournament, and we want to keep moving forward here with a group and build this group over the next 3 or 4 years together to have success.
Did you like you know, I know you didn't play the second game in the regional, but do you like looking back on the day off in the regional?
Yeah, you know what, I think that obviously we didn't get to the second game to fully utilize that day, but it makes sense. It really does. And, you know, when you think about some of those teams, I don't know which ones, but some teams had to play at 8 o'clock Eastern time sometimes, you know what I mean? And if you're playing that late game and you got to turn around and prepare to play the next day, that's such an advantage for the other team playing in the afternoon. So it makes sense. You know, you're in the national tournament, the Frozen Four in Boston this year, you have the day off. Well, the 2 weeks previous on this final 16, the regionals, it makes sense. You're in the national tournament. Be consistent, and I think it made sense.
You guys had that tight turnaround with the Thursday game.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a challenge, or do you still like the day off?
Still like the day off. Still like the day off. You know, and I think there's a lot of, whether you go practice or whether you go, like I know a lot of teams did some team building things or whatever, and maybe skated and maybe didn't skate. Whatever you do, you can allocate the time to prepare for that game, and it puts both teams on an even playing field, you know, for that very important game to get to the Frozen Four.
And lastly, the crowd there was the smallest crowd you guys have played in front of in some time. Is there a way to address that, or do you think that needs to be addressed?
Well, I think we're locked into 26, aren't we? We're locked into 26, but I know there's going to be some discussions, and that's going to be a thing going on. What is the best student-athlete experience? You know, I get it. You know, you want to go to a neutral site venue, and you want to make it fair for everybody, but at the end of the day, we still are a college atmosphere. We're college. It's about the student-athlete experience, and whether that is to go to the top 4 seeds and have the regionals and those, that's always a point of a discussion, and we'll keep having it. But I truly believe, like, you know, so used to playing in front of huge crowds, and you know what, if we're a 2 seed or a 3 seed, then guess what, we should have been a 1 seed, but guess what, I'm willing to go into a 1 seed and play in front of a packed crowd of another team's fans, because I know we'll have a lot of fans as well.